So, what's the deal, man? What's your MMR? Why are you here? Etc. Etc. Etc.
MMR right now is 6,044.
Wow.
Trying to get better for
Okay.
NADCL.
Okay. And what role?
Probably mid. Trying to get better at my pos 5 because I've been having to play pos 5 in high MMR games.
So what are we here for?
So my laning mechanics are really bad.
So are we here to learn about mid or support?
I have a mid one to look at, and I also think like sometimes I get into games and I sort of don't understand my role.
Okay.
What I'm supposed to be doing.
Sounds good.
So yeah, I have this one, which I think I kind of fucked up this game. Just like I asked my mid to swap lanes with me, and it was probably the wrong decision. And then it was weird from there on out.
Okay. So who are you? You're playing Monkey King. Okay.
Yeah, Monkey.
Yeah, not a huge fan of this hero in general, but some people still pick him. So
yeah, can you share your screen?
yeah, I got you, dude. God, nobody believes in me anymore. Okay. So let's check this out. So you did a lane swap in this game, you said.
Yeah, I was like, I picked and I was like, they have Nepo. I can go mid and I'll win mid pretty hard.
Okay, so you had a Zeus and you swapped to mid because you were Monkey King against Meepo. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just making
like,
sure. So you weren't intending to go mid here, like at the start.
No, I was intending to go offlane. And it was like a tiny whatever lane, so I was like, that's gonna be really rough for me. And I want to just play with it, like keep up with the Meepo. So I did actually, instead of blocking, I sniped the courier.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess in this spot, when these creeps are under tower, God, okay, you know, I'm going to leave this. All this is fine. It's just a basic lane mechanic. It seems so simple, but it's something that I really had to think about recently. Did you think you were killing this in one hit?
No.
Okay, so I understand maybe you thought this guy's CSing, I'm going to hit this. So I'm thinking to myself, if this is at 2 hits, is there anything he can do to reliably kill it before I see it happening?
No.
No. Is it going to die unless he hits it?
No.
No. What is going to die?
The range creep.
Range creep, right? So like that sounds like such a simple thing, but something with the laning mechanics is I always try to focus myself on what is my obligation next. And that seems like something I talked to my 3Ks about, but at like a very advanced level, this is like very important. Like a very, very important. Like you have to know that this is higher priority than this, right? You just have to know that. And so you can't go for this double hit because good players or even like, 6K players, like, defining good, like obviously 6Ks are good, but like when I say good, I'll usually think of like really good players. Like they're not like they're just going to take that deny. So that's like one example of like something lazy I used to do that just loses you 1 or 2 CS a lane. So let's see here. So he
I think you're gonna be surprised at how bad I am at the laning.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised so far.
It's definitely my weakest part in that game. I think a lot of the times I lose my lane and I just come back in the mid game having like playing the map correctly. I think.
So you think you're better at the rest of the game than your MMR is, but you're worse than your MMR at laning.
Yeah, and then here I should have stunned him just to stop that, and then I just.
Oh no, you died because you took tower damage. Is why you died.
Yeah.
So the way I look at this personally, so do you win if this lane's on your hill?
Yeah.
Okay, so I understand you didn't block because you sniped the courier. But what I'm thinking is, what makes you at the advantage in this lane? And this is how you should have. I want to be very clear that this is something I want you to have this general approach in this lane. What makes you have the advantage in this lane?
If I can just hit the Meepo without having to go into tower range.
Okay, so basically the threat of walking at him and hitting him, right?
Yeah.
So that doesn't apply when it's near his high ground, right?
Yeah.
So my idea is rather than trying to be aggressive this whole time, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it so that the next wave is at my high ground.
Yes, I just want to stand tonight.
So rather than like half-assing the harass now continuously, I'm going to make it so, okay, he gets his one wave because I sniped the courier. And then I'm going to put it on my lane.
Yeah, I think I made a mistake where I like after I TP'd back, I like blocked a little bit, and so I was like on his high ground but not getting hit by tower.
I don't think you wanted getting hit by tower. I think you literally just have to creep aggro to this range creep, kill it off. Like right now, you just like I don't do any of this crap because it just doesn't do anything, honestly. Like,
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
I was having a lot of issue with this game because I just felt weird with the lane. And usually I do better than like this sort of play where I die doing early.
Well, what I'm saying is, I don't care about what you're talking to me about dying. I care that you're okay with the lane being here and you trying to harass them when the lane's here. Because your harass is only powerful when what?
I have my stun.
No, when the lane's at your
at
your hill. Like, that's the only time it's powerful. So it's like, that's the important part. I don't give a shit that you died. You died because of all this shit. You died because he has, like, way more CS and XP than he should because of this shit. I don't care of the misplay that happened when you died. I care about the 2 minutes that lead up to it that make him have more CS and levels than you do. That's what I care about. That's how laning works. The guy that outplays the other guy for the first 3 minutes is probably going to be the guy that kills him at 3 minutes. It's not because you misplayed at 3 minutes. It's because you've made 10 misplays compared to that guy, and he now has that little advantage on you, and then he kills you. So deaths like this... Go ahead.
Yeah, when I'm like raising on Mark, and when I play these games, I feel like sometimes I just lose my lane really hard mid lane.
Yeah,
and it's hard to come back from.
For me, I can't. I had a long time where I couldn't play ranged heroes mid. My mid lane mechanics on melee heroes are pretty good, but my mechanics on ranged heroes were really bad for a very long time, and they're still not as good as like the absolute top mid laners. But if I'm like playing against like a 300 divine or 300 immortal, I feel pretty confident to win. The lane.
Yeah, for me it's some heroes I can play pretty well. Like I play like Ember and Storm and stuff, and I play this hero a lot, so I feel comfortable.
How often do you play Monkey King?
I play this hero mostly safe lane. So
okay.
I play a good amount. I have like 100.
Well, the important thing about when you go from safe lane to mid lane is why is he good in the safe lane?
You can just get the hits and not have to worry about tower.
Yeah, so the reason why is because you have room between the opponent tower and you to like actually hit things. So make it happen in the mid lane. You know what I mean? Like, just because you're not used to the mid lane doesn't mean... I understand that you may misexecute. Like, you may not end up making it happen, but at least try to make that happen. You know what I mean? In the early laning stage, like, you should know that if you've played 100 games of Monkey King, why Monkey King can do that. Like, you know, you're 6k, that's like... just because it's the mid lane doesn't change on a melee hero, actually. It just changes where the towers are. So maybe your ability to take it under your own tower, you don't remember to block your own creep wave on the next one. Or you don't know exactly where tower range is by, like, feel. That kind of stuff. But you definitely should not, like, let the lane be here and try to be aggressive when the lane's here. Because you know you can't be aggressive when the lane's up here.
Yeah, I used to play mid, like, when I was a lot lower MR. Like, 3k 4-ish, 3k 4k-ish. And then I switched to playing safe lane for grinding a lot of, like, from 5k to 6k. And
safe lane is definitely the best core role to be shit at mechanics and gain MMR still.
Yeah. So I've been trying to get better mechanics. I've been noticing, like, and I get punished way more in these games for my shit mechanics in lane.
Yep. Eventually, at some point, every mistake catches up to you. That's what I've realized. Whether it's when you're 7k, whether it's when you're 6k. You should be flying yourself a salve right now, by the way. Why?
Yeah. You said I want to waste the shrine.
No, like, you can use the shrine, but then are you not going to ever take damage again?
Oh, yeah.
One of the thing about laning is having items that address problems before they're problems. Like, if I'm a Terrorblade... Okay. We're going to show the game I won, because that last game was a joke. Let's see. I'm looking at these enemy heroes. I'm laning against a Weaver, and I have... Or, sorry, no, it was a Spectre. It was a Spectre tree off lane, and the mid laner's a Zeus. What item should I have by 5 minutes in the game?
Spectre tree off lane, Manta.
5 minutes into the game?
5 minutes. Just want boots, right? Or you want a salve?
Specifically, an item that's going to prevent me from dying against Zeus with a Spectre and a tree in my lane. I'm a Terrorblade with 500 max health.
Treads? You're just going to have strength or more HP?
How about raindrops? Because Zeus ulti effectively removes like a third of my HP pool if I don't have raindrops. Like, if you look at my items this game... We go back. Nice. Do I buy boots?
yeah.
No, I have wand and raindrops, right? Like, and then I lose the
I
raindrops.
wasn't thinking about the
Then I buy more raindrops because it's a Zeus. Do I have to be ulted by Zeus to know that he's a problem? No. I have to know. So if I'm ever gonna go on this Meepo, am I gonna be full health by the end of it? No. So if I ever trade with this Meepo, I'm losing health. So I need a salve. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These are very important in lanes. Like, it's important for your starting items. It's important for your, like, how you play the lane. Like, these type of thoughts that, like, what's going to happen in this lane? Like, there was a game on Bloodseeker, I bought a stick in my first 700 gold or whatever, my first starting items, and someone's like, BSJ, why'd you buy a stick? Like, you can just buy the side shop. I'm like, well, there's going to be a rune engagement against a Weaver plus, I don't remember who it was. It was Weaver plus one, both heroes that spam a lot of abilities. And I'm like, I'm going to have, like, 7 stick charges at this rune. Like, I'm going to buy a...
Grimstroke lane.
What?
It sounds like a Weaver Grimstroke lane.
Yeah, something like that, right? And I was just like, I know I'm going to get stick charges from this rune because I know how this game's going to play. They're going to contest us at the rune. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to get stick charges. So I have to buy, like, as far as I know, if I buy a stick charges at the side shop, it's not going to retroactively give me stick charges from the rune, you know? Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know? I'm not trying to be sarcastic, but these are things that are happening ahead of time. So I'm seeing that with your items, so, you know, do you want me to watch past the laning stage? Or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this game I was like kind of lost in what I should be doing. I think mainly it's just like I was playing the mid role, but I was playing this hero that I just should be playing more like as a pause one, have Zeus rotate mid and take this lane over. So it just wasn't.
I think it's fine what you're doing so far. Okay. When should your movement top be timed for?
When the wave's on our tower.
Please give me an objective.
You can take the tier 1. Or...
What's, like, more valuable in gold than a tier 1?
To kill.
A bounty rune,
The
dude!
bounty rune, yeah.
So, what should you do now, since it's 9 minutes and 5 seconds?
Just head to the bounty runes and secure the top lane.
You have to be there 55 seconds ahead of time?
No, I can just
So you see Meepo bottom, you see 3 top, just hit mid.
Yeah.
Having a Keela hit mid, right?
Mid.
And then, guess what? How long do you relieve pressure for if you kill a wave?
30 seconds. 40
Okay,
seconds.
so kill this wave, and then by the next time there'll be pressure mid, when will it be? If you kill this wave.
Time.
What?
It'll be 10 minutes, so bounty runes.
Yeah, so you can go get the bounty runes, and then what?
Then just come back to mid.
Then just come back mid. Right? But isn't this real awkward now?
Yeah, so I'm too early, and I have to...
There's like nothing important for you here. You're just like, what now? And then you go mid.
Yeah, now it's...
And then you're not at the bounty rune.
Yes.
You see this? See the difference here? So you're just not at a bounty rune now, at 10 minutes. And there's going to be a fight happening, most certainly, like, meaning you probably could have killed that Venge when he's at the bounty rune. Instead, you're mid, alone, and die. See the differences here? So it's like, I always say that I should be able to plan anywhere between 30 seconds to a minute ahead of time of what I'm doing. So what I mean at like a micro level is 30 seconds to a minute. At like a macro level, you can say my next objective is Roche, or my next objective is tier 1 top. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can plan 5 minutes ahead of time in that regard. But like, when it comes down to like specifics of what I'm doing with my hero, I can think 30 seconds to 60 seconds ahead. Like, I really can, you know? So it's like, when I'm in this, the difference between me as a mid laner and what I struggle with personally, like I'm just telling you, you know, confessions of BSJ, what he struggles with in the mid lane, is that decision I can tell you so easily when I watch, like, what should be happening here. Like, oh, it's 9:05, what the fuck is he doing rotating? Like, kill the wave at 9:15, then go top and get the bounty and then come back. Like, that's so obvious. But, like, I haven't played enough mid lane so that becomes, you know, ingrained in me. You know what I mean? Like, in the safe lane, all of my timings are so ingrained because I've played it so much that thought process will happen over the course of, like, half a second. When I'm in the mid lane, a lot of my movements are delayed by 3 seconds, you know, because it takes me a bit longer to process it just because I'm not used to it, you know? You get used to these, like, red flags of, like, what I'm supposed to be doing next. And it's like in the safe lane, I just get the triggers automatically and I just do it. But in the mid lane, I'm like, ugh. But the point is, you have to be thinking about it that way, and then your thought process will become faster as you start thinking about it that way. If you're moving to position 2, then you need to think about it like that. Like, what's my next 30 seconds going to be? Like, am I able to pressure this tower? I'd say no. You lost your lane pretty much. You're against a Meepo. Meepo +1 kills you. Can't pressure the tower unless you see Meepo and, like, the heroes that would set up. So earlier we saw Bane, we saw Venge, and we saw Meepo. So we were good to pressure the tier 1. But it's like now you're alone. You just died to a Meepo. He wasn't showing himself anymore. So this is like one of those things where you're not thinking about the conditions for what your hero can do because you lost. It's much easier to think about conditions for a hero when you win than when you lose.
Yeah, I think that death too was like the blink reveal, so I just died because he had blink and I just got blinked on.
But I think even without a blink, like if Venge just stuns you and Meepo walks at you, you still die.
Yeah.
So I really hate TPing bottom like this, by the way. I think this is dog shit.
I knew this as soon as I TP'd. I was like, oh.
Okay, you knew that as soon as you TP'd?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like as soon as I literally as while I was TPing, I was like, oh, that's a mistake.
Okay, got you. If you knew that, then I'm not going to talk any further.
Yeah, so I think like my first 15 minutes sometimes can be like really bad. And losing a lot of games that I shouldn't like lose laning phase.
I'd say like it's really weird to say this, but like 10 to 15 minutes is probably one of the hardest stages in the game for any role. It's one of those where in the professional level, if you make one bad play, it's actually like game losing.
Yeah, like playing.
But like when you're watching 2 tier 1 teams, nobody makes bad plays from 10 to 15. Like they may like misclick something, but they don't mess up where they are on the map. Like they're always in the right place. But go ahead. I know I keep interrupting you.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. It's knowledge. So anyways, I've been like playing scrims and qualifiers for like random stuff, and so I played versus like Team Exotle, which won open qualifiers for the major, and we just playing the lanes just felt like we couldn't win them, even though we had like okay lanes, hero wise.
Yeah.
And
so just felt like they were just better than you in the lanes.
Yeah, it's like some lanes like not. It's like lanes we shouldn't win, but we shouldn't just like die 5 times in or. And then certain teams, like I play versus like a ranked 200, 100 mid and scrims a lot, and sometimes I can like stomp them if I get like lucky, and I just run at them and kill them once or twice. But a lot of times I just lose the first wave or 2, and then I'm down like a whole level and a half by like 5 minutes.
I got you. So we're gonna probably wrap up the replays you give me somewhere around 15 to 20. But
yeah.
So
I have a pause 5 too.
So this area of the map's like complete shit, right?
Yeah.
So why are we ever here? Why is this better than here? What about this area is better than this?
I can just push the lane.
Okay, so the only reason you'd ever be down here is because of the lane, right?
Yeah.
So why are you jungling if you're down here? How is this camp ever better than this?
It's not.
Ever, right? Never.
Yeah.
You have a ward protecting this. The top lane's pushed out. You see a lot of what's going on up here. Exact same amount of farm, that's twice as safe. So if you're ever going to be down here, you should... Like, the 2 correct options is pushing this from the trees or killing these 2 camps. You're literally doing, like, the one wrong thing. Like, the only option that's wrong is down here, like, is being in the jungle. This is way more dangerous than you being up on top of trees, right? Like, if you're going to be bottom, the only reason you're here is to relieve pressure. So the 2 options are... The only time you're ever here is when you look at the enemy lineup and you say, if they gank me with 2 or 3 heroes, I don't give a fuck, and I'm going to walk away. That's the only time I'm going to farm this. Like, if I'm a void against all projectile stuns and I can just time walk or something, Otherwise, I'm just not going to be here. Like, you die to 2 or 3 heroes. They will kill you. And so you can't be here. And so this is something where you're either cowering in the trees, relieving pressure, or you're here. And I would much prefer your Zeus or Crystal Maiden be putting themselves at risk down here than you. So I'd prefer you to be top, if this makes sense. I hate Monkey King replays because of this garbage.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so... Yeah, so you end up going to push the lane. And if you're going to stay bottom, where should you go? Your 2 options. Your 2 options. What are your 2 options right now that are actually reasonable?
Stay bottom or just TP top or walk top.
So what are your 2 options that are reasonable right now?
I can just sit in the trees and push the lane.
Okay.
And just hop in and out try not to die, or I can TP top and try to force the tower.
Look at your TP, please.
Or sorry, just walk top. I don't have.
I don't think you can walk top. That's not reasonable. So what are your two plays?
Mid.
Yeah, you can walk mid or stay bottom and sit in the trees. This is why you don't TP bottom, for you and everyone else wondering. Because this happens a lot. You don't want to be here. So if you TP here and you're like, ah, shit, what do I do now? Well, fuck. So that's what you do. Your options are to push this lane in or walk to your team mid. And by walking, I mean jumping through trees. Last thing you're ever allowed to do is not be in the trees or bottom or mid. And what I look at now is you're just literally saying at any point if I run into an enemy hero here, I'm dead. And especially in a game like this where Meepo is strong enough to solo kill you. Or like potentially.
Yeah.
Like it just, I don't like these plays. Like yeah, it works out because there were 4 mid. But why weren't you just bottom anyway? Right? Like.
Yeah, I was just pushing away.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like.
Yeah,
you're just playing the wrong side of the map. Like, meaning if you're playing bottom side, we know why, right? Like I've talked about this so many times on my stream.
Yeah.
We know why to play the bottom side of the map. If you're not doing that, why the fuck are you there? You know?
Yeah, this game was kind of just off. I felt because it wasn't trying to play around the Meepo.
You look very aimless. For sure.
I think I finally started going to the right part of the map.
Yeah, and usually good things happen. Or I don't say usually good things happen. Usually the best possible thing will happen when you go to the good side of the map.
I think I walked top and then I get a kill and then I had like 4 heroes TP on me.
Yep, 4 heroes TP, and this is a perfect time to TP bottom. Why? Why was that a perfect time? It's not good anymore. Why was it good earlier?
Because they just all TP'd.
They just all TP. So you kill this camp, you shrine, boom, TP bottom. You know?
I think right here, I'm just like I'm scared of Meepo rushing. So I check.
Are you the one that's like you have Zeus ulti, you know? So this is a spot where I know how bad bottom is, right? So the reason why do you think I'm putting when I say bad, I mean like I know how much danger I'm in this game. So why am I so gung ho about you going bottom right now?
Because they just showed the tiny TP and the TP2.
But because it's so bad otherwise.
Yeah. So
you know what I'm saying? Like in a standard game, yes, exactly. Like in a standard where nothing's happening in this game, bottom lane is a death trap. So if there ever opens up an opportunity where I can TP bottom and kill like a triple wave and get out and never have to come back for like another minute and a half, that's beauty right there. That's perfect, you know? And this is a spot where it so needs to happen immediately because this kind of shit's going to start happening. Like Meepo, I can't see him, I guess, but you can see him on the minimap. Like Meepo's going to be looking bottom. So this is a spot where do I stay for 3 waves?
No, you just get the one.
You just kill this one wave, right? Like you literally E it, you Q it, and you get out.
Because if you die, then they're just gonna take the tier 2.
Yeah, and you know that this is a bad place to be. So like that's why it was so important that you go immediately. And it's no longer good anymore, as I mentioned, because it's like, and you see that. I didn't even see that when I said I mentioned that. It's just something like that's understanding right there. Okay. So this is something where you could have cleared that one wave and then done this play. And maybe it'd be a bit delayed, but Zeus would also not be bottom kind of thing. It's kind of hard to tell exactly how it would go if you made that play. Okay, so
I think they just wouldn't have fought top.
Yeah. They would have waited for you to fight top, is what would have happened.
Yeah, so I was kind of just thinking that I'm not going to be able to go bottom, because I think I realized that was like, when I saw the Meepo, I should have just been dying bottom. Or just not playing all the jungle, so I just start playing on top lane.
That's correct.
Because I'm scared of the Roshan threat. They have a Meepo and Venge, so I just play top and try to get this area controlled.
This is good. I don't think you're in the trees enough, by the way. You said you've played a lot of Monkey King.
Yeah, I have a fairly good win rate this year.
I'm just saying, like, I just feel like you walk a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about it, like... So, you know, lo and behold, a fight in your own jungle with no wards. You know, I don't think I have to say any more, right? Like,
yeah,
just to fight in your own jungle with no wards. I guess it ends up going decently. But, like, those are the type of fights where if you lose them, they get Roche. If you win them, you get nothing. Go ahead.
I stayed too long because we got the Meepo kill, and I was like, I was just staying in front of the camp, and then I didn't realize they would rotate every hero.
I mean, that's just how it goes. They will rotate heroes. Like, you are at the high enough bracket where if people are fighting on that side of the map, they don't even have to understand the dead lane concept. They just innately know it's a good place to fight. Okay, so... I think you're TPing out of base
Oh.
way too much. When you're under threat of somebody like Meepo, where they can solo kill you, you need to stop
You just
TPing.
have to TP up, yeah.
Yeah, like you should just have your TP available because you're playing this
React,
dodge
yeah.
game, right? So like
Yes, I just dodging the Meepo. And
you dodge the
kinda-
Meepo, but most importantly, are you ever going to be near the fights when they happen?
No. just
No.
dodging.
So first and foremost, you're dodging, so you need a TP in order to dodge better, but you're also effectively removing yourself from the game whenever you TP out of base. Do you see that in these type of games?
I noticed this in this fight. I was like,
This is just like this is one of those things where you're going to TP out of base 6 times, and it's going to cost you 3 times. It's not going to cost you every time, but the amount of time that a perfect carry player, perfect mid laner will not be available for fights is way less than the amount of time someone like you. I fucking hate Monkey King replays, dude. We're gonna go back to we're gonna go back to 20. We're gonna go back to 22:45. So fucking stupid. I wonder if they're ever gonna fix it.
Yeah, I also need to rewatch. I need to watch my replays more. I don't watch many at all.
22. Wait, what? How?
Oh, it's just a year game.
Yeah, what? Sorry. I don't actually know how that happened. Okay.
This game definitely felt like they threw their advantage, though. And that's how we won. But like, I was really confused on what I should be doing this early game.
Yeah, do you want to stop watching this one, or do you want me to keep watching it?
I guess we can stop.
Okay, never mind then. We didn't have to reload. What's your next one?
I have a Prison 5 one that I want to show you because it was like one where I was playing Boss 5 and I'm just not really. I hate playing Boss 5, but I just needed to play because it was the lowest MR in the game by far. So I think this one is a lot of a draft lose.
Okay.
But I was like really lost on what to do early game. I was just like, I'm not trying to play this correctly.
Let's see.
At all.
What hero are you?
The Winter Wyvern.
Winter Wyvern. Okay. And you have an Ursa safe lane?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I think they stopped lanes.
Are you ever in my games?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because I queue like midday or morning.
Oh, okay. We just queue separate times. So you're playing against Fear, decent player.
So yeah, I think like sometimes I just lose games because I'm really bad at Pause 5. It's definitely something I just don't play often, and so I'm not really sure what to do exactly.
Okay. So we're gonna do what I do for every Pause 5 player, even if they're 2K. So let's look at your items. Okay. You're gonna against most likely what? A Necro Tree?
Yeah. Well, I think it's Necro Tree.
I'm just saying, if you look at these drafts, like preemptively, you have to plan for being against Necro Tree. So I guess I'm okay with 2 clarities, but I'm okay with 2 clarities. So we have Sentry for Tree. We have 2 clarities. Is this a lane that you guys win heads up? Like, if you just fight them normally, you're gonna win the lane.
I think it depends on who gets level 2 first.
I would just say no. It's like, yes, level 2 matters, but like they're just gonna out-sustain you, and you're not a support that helps Ursa actually kill them. So if they out-sustain you and you don't kill them, how do you win?
We swap lanes.
You don't swap.
Well,
okay, so what are you doing here? What's the
pull.
goal here? Okay, so you sentry.
Yeah.
Yes, you do pull. That is the answer.
Yeah.
And then he
I think
dewards
this
it.
game we swapped lanes just because the lane was going really poorly.
Okay. So here's... First and foremost, your sentry should be in a spot that isn't in vision, so that if they plant one of their own, you can see it. That's like a very big deal. The minute you lost this sentry, this lane is real rough. I'd fly yourself 2 sentries, personally. I think there should be a second sentry. The second sentry because...
yeah, he's gonna deward and then get another sentry and then...
Yeah, but also because what if... How important is the pull in this lane?
That's really important.
Okay,
like,
so like if you have no pull, and they have a lane sentry, you're fucked.
Yeah,
So it's like
I didn't think I pulled at all this whole.
yeah, so that's like a alarming thing to me. So the time that pull is really important is when you literally ask yourself, if we play this lane normally, who wins?
Yeah,
And if
so
the
they
answer is
win, so I have to
them,
pull.
then the lane, then you have to pull. Like you just have to. So like I personally in this lane would not have gone my Q level 1. I would have gone my W. Why?
So I can push the wave and then pull.
Okay,
Or in just
absolutely.
fast.
So it contributes to pushing the wave. Is Ursa ever going to be able to walk up and get range creeps?
No, so
No.
I can get the range keep blast.
So if you don't have your W, how many range creep denies is the opponent going to get?
Should get up most of them.
All of them, if they're
Yeah,
if they're any good.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, they're going to get all of them. So I look at this and say, you're not going to outtrade them because even if you Q them, the Necro's pretty good at dealing with that because your Q's like damage over time, and then he Qs it off and hits your Ursa, and then Tree is going to hit it. Like Ursa can't go on Necro, right? Like he can't go.
No.
The time where your Q's good is when like you're taking off half their health and the carry can like walk at them and also hit them. You know what I mean? So in this type of lane, I think your W is way better. For all the reasons I mentioned. I can tell you right now, at the highest level, lanes can absolutely be lost level 1. Period. You got your ward dewarded. Like that was a very poorly placed sentry. I think there's no reason for you to ever be over here anyways. So why not just put a sentry here? You know? Like I don't even think you have to play here because what are our 2 places we're concerned about being in this lane?
Kind of tower in the pole.
Yeah, right? So why is a sentry over here do anything? So, like, these are things that you have to actually understand at the highest level, right? Like, you are 6K, so for you to get better, you have to play as good as a 7K, right? Like, if you want to consistently get MMR, you know what I mean? Like, maybe over time you'll get a little bit of MMR because you'll get a little bit better.
I've been stuck at this sort of like low 6K, mid 6K bracket for a while now.
Yeah.
So it's been frustrating.
Yeah, and I get that. So what I'm going to tell you about, like, okay, so as position 2s, if you're looking to move to mid, you're going to have to step up the lane mechanics, period. I highly recommend, 1v1ing. I've done it a little bit. I should do it more if I ever, like, really need to commit to mid. But, like, for instance, I got flamed on VGJ that month that I was basically told, BSJ, your laning mechanics are not up to par. And I was like, okay. I played monkeys 1v1 in like random matchups in the side lanes or like 2v2s. I did like 100 of those. And it got way better. You learn a lot of little things. And then you put them in your games and all that kind of shit. So that's like my recommendation for the mid lane. It's really that simple. Like I have nothing much else to say. Like when you know your win condition is that you need to have the ability to chase the Meepo and you're not setting that up, there's nothing more I can do for you. Right? Like if you are then setting up the win condition, meaning like the lane's on your hill now, all that kind of stuff, and then you make plays, I can then go from there. But in the laning stage in the mid lane, it was literally boiled down to the fact that you tried to aggress on the guy, like try to be aggressive when you weren't in a position of advantage. Because like what defined your advantage is the ability to chase him, and you didn't have that ability, and you were trying to be aggressive. And then suddenly you're like, wait a minute, he's got half a level on me, and then he just kills me at level 3. Shocker. It's not a shocker, right? It's because of all those little things. So then as a support, right? Like, the earlier on in the game, the higher your impact as a support is. So like when I play with like really good support players, like they just do all of these little things really well. They're very little, okay? Like when I say little, it's like
Oh yeah.
you're gonna be playing here in pole camp. So all we care about is this in the pole camp. So we're never walking over here. Like right when you did that, I was kind of like, what? Like I didn't comment yet because I have to see what happens. But I'm like, what? And then I see, like, you're not going to trade with them, which is what your Q is really good for. Or, like, going on them. You're never going on them with Ursa. When's the only time you're going on them with Ursa, by the way?
With Ursa, level
You said
3.
no. You said it. You said it specifically.
Level 2.
Okay, and you have to be level 2 before them, right?
Yeah.
So if you're only going to go on them when you're level 2 and they're not, and your Q is only good for when you go on them, are you following me here?
Yeah, so I just want the W so I can have.
Yeah, so you get W, so you have your Q first, and then when you get level 2, you go on them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so this is the kind of little thing that is so critical in these type of lanes. Like, it's funny when you can take a 6K player like yourself, who's obviously like top. What are you? Top? What rank are you?
800. I just
800.
like 200 MR.
Yeah,
so
I'm just saying, you're top 800.
A few days, so.
And I'm shredding your level 1 decision making.
Yeah, this is really useful for me because it's like definitely my worst part.
Yeah.
Of the games
So this is like, if you watch my stream a lot, you know, for anyone watching, I flame the shit out of my supports level 1 so much because it's this stuff that actually defines supports. Okay, like it is, because it's, if they think this stuff through, it's the kind of stuff that makes them good support laners, right? If you know the pull's important, you know you're not going on them unless it's level 2. You know your Q means you're going on them. Your W means you can secure last hits on range. What does that mean in this lane? Sometimes that doesn't fucking matter. Like, sometimes you're never going to have to do that, right? But then in this lane, you have an Ursa who's never going to be able to walk up for range. So that's a pretty big deal. And it's like, I didn't once see you go for a deny anywhere in here. I feel like the only contribution you can do to this lane is nuking range, potentially Wing the Necro once or twice, like meaning like hitting him with it once or twice, and like defighting, like making it so you guys get level 2 before they do, and then denying some creeps. That's like the only contribution I think you can possibly have in this lane. So the minute I'm done here, what needs to be checked right now?
The pull camps.
The pull camps, right? So are you required to use your sentry level 1?
No.
No, right?
Because then I want to see if they have the ward.
Yeah, so my what I'm thinking is this. If we go on Necro, do we need to see Tree?
No, not level 1.
I actually think we do. No, I'm saying if we go on Necro, do we need to see Tree?
Yeah.
Okay. When are we going on Necro?
Level 2.
Okay. So
yeah, so I can just.
But before that, we don't need to, like, you already said no because you were like, you're saying we're not going on him level 1, so we don't need to see him, right? Like,
yeah.
These are such intricate things that can be analyzed every single lane. It's so funny to me because for me it's just like, it's immense understanding of the lane matchups. Like I played I'll show you. It was on my Smurf. I can't show you. I was Storm against Lina. Okay, I'll talk about this briefly. Okay, I'll talk about this. So, oh my god, you know what? Fuck it. Is there a I know Sumail Storm against Lina in the international. I'm gonna look for it real quick.
That's a lane I really struggle with because I feel like
I want to show you an intricate understanding of something that I fucked up terribly and I'll never do again. For instance, I really want to give this example.
I don't know. Lina was picked so much as support at TI.
I know it was Sumail. Okay, I'm gonna analyze it for you. So. Linas are going to get their stun level 1, right? So, level 1, does it benefit me as a Storm to drag the melee creeps to my own range and then have the Lina do the same?
No, because
Why?
Can stun you and take the creep.
Because if you try to deny, he'll walk forward and stun you, and if you try to get the range, he's going to stun you, right? Yeah. Like, try to get the enemy range. So I did that. And I tried to get the enemy range, and I took like 400 damage for it. So, I then later watched Sumail play Storm against Lina. So, obviously it's still an unfavored matchup. It's not like Sumail won the lane, okay? Well, you know what he did? He literally remnanted the wave when it was full health, and then remnanted again to get the melee creep, and then made it so there were like 3 of his creeps, and only 1 of the Lina's, and then he was able to secure the range with a remnant. And he just like flew himself a mango because it cost him an extra remnant to do that. Does that make it, like, you see what I'm saying about the intricacies of lane matchups? Like, in certain times, it's good to drag creeps to your own range. Certain times, it's not good.
Yeah, I feel like heroes with, like, TA and Lina, like, you mess up that one part, and then you just lose the lane.
You literally lose the lane. Yeah, no, I was on my Smurf playing Storm, and I played that lane, and I got demolished because of that one mistake. Like, meaning, I'd probably lose the lane.
Another salve, and then you just have, like, the oldness.
Yeah, it's like I'd probably lose the lane anyways, but I get demolished rather than losing. You know what I'm saying? So in this type of lane, you're probably not going to win. But it should not be a I'm panicking, swap lanes kind of thing. It should be a let's get the most out of this. Let's level our abilities properly. Let's pull when appropriate. Is Ursa that bad against Necro when it's just Necro versus Ursa?
No. Pretty slow on that.
So if you pull the creeps and tree is not there, what's the lane going to look like? Meaning the tree is still in lane, but not contesting your pull.
He's just going to last the creeps on our tower.
He's going to last the creeps on our tower. But if
Yeah,
tree,
I was scared if I pulled and he would just get dove with the tree.
I mean, then your Ursa's bad. Okay, like he ain't gonna get dove if he ain't bad. Okay,
Yeah.
he's faster move speed than Necro. Like he should be getting farm. He's gonna get decent levels. Like this is a way overreaction. He's just leaving. Holy shit.
Yeah, I thought this was weird. They just swapped lanes.
That is
I guess
insanity.
The Pugna was losing mid, so he was like, "Can we lane swap, please?"
I guess this isn't. I guess it's not terrible. It shouldn't have to happen, but it's not terrible. I'll say that right now.
So
You know
that's
what?
like I really just got confused on what to do at this point. I was like,
Okay,
I guess
so this is how I look at it. Does your Pugna need you to help him right now?
No,
Okay, leave, please, for the love of God.
I
Worst
left
mistake.
Later.
What?
Yeah, I left later. I was like really late on the.
No, so what I'm saying, what do you think I mean by leave?
Just get out of the XP range.
Okay. Just making sure we're on the same page there. I don't mean to like, TP away. I mean to leave XP range. It's really big. Why is it so important that you give the carry XP rather than yourself? To the 1K players out there, why is it important that you're not the same level as your carry? And he's getting more, like, if there's an XP distribution that he's getting 75% and you're getting 25%, why is that better than 50-50?
Because he wants to get. Because I don't need the levels, and he needs levels for.
What happens when he becomes independent enough to not need you anymore?
Then I can just rotate.
Then you can go get levels.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you give him levels now, you'll have your carry become independent, whether that means he leaves your lane so you can take this lane, whether that means he can be here without you so you can go soak mid, right? So by you soaking from him now, that means he's going to become independent later, maybe way later,
His timings.
because maybe his independence is based on his levels compared to the opponent, right? So like right now, what happens in these types of lanes when I have supports like you, with all due respect, is the tree is just like over here. Somewhere. Okay?
Yeah, he sent the courier.
Like, I'm saying, like, he's just somewhere else. Maybe he's pulling this camp. If he's really good, okay? Like, if this was like a rank 50 tree or something. And then this Necro's getting solo XP, while I'm sharing it with my support underneath my tower. Please put yourself in this Pugna's perspective. Like, ugh. Like, the tree's... So what happens to me is the tree pulls this shit, so then denies, like, 1 or 2 creeps from here, and then the Necro's getting solo XP, and then I'm getting half XP from here, and I'm not even getting these creeps. And I'm like, ugh. What if you're just like over here with a, like, what if you had a sentry right here, right? As we talked about, and you're chilling right here. You're then scouting out the potential pull. Maybe you're chilling like farther away from XP, right? Maybe you're over here or something. The sentry's right here, you're chilling right here. Maybe you're still in XP range because you have to be. Don't, like, throw yourself out of position to be out of XP range. But, like, then you're preventing, like, if you think about it, isn't the perfect play for Tree right now to pull this camp?
Yeah, pull the camp.
Yeah.
Back.
And then, like, Pugna can't walk up, right? He can't walk up. Like, he can't walk up over here. So, if Tree pulls this and then sits here, Pugna's literally denied an entire wave, like, of farm, pretty much. So it's like, if that's their perfect play, you need to be positioned and playing according to that, right? That's how you need to think about it. Because you're like, what can go wrong for my carry here? And it's like, I just look at your queue and I'm like, when am I ever using this queue? Thinking to yourself.
Go for kills.
Okay, going for kills or what? They're going for kills.
Yeah, they're going
and you need to protect your carry. Was that situation?
No. I was trying to get one hit off on him and harass, and then as soon as I...
But that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, because he's Necro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, that's what we're trying to talk about here, is understanding lane matchups specifically, right? Like, you harassing there, even if you don't die, I'd just be like, dude, you just wasted your Q, what are you doing? Like, that's just a waste. So now you need to go pull, right? We talked about this, you need to go pull. You need to understand that your Pugna cannot operate with the lane where it is right now. You have to know that. Like, you just have to put yourself in the Pugna's eyes, or shoes, or whatever, and be like, can he walk up here? No. This is what it looks like, right? Like, he's barely skimping for CS. Like, Necro's definitely out. Necro's actually not out farming him. What the? Actually, no. I guess Pugna started mid, so it's a bit inaccurate. I feel like this Necro should have way more CS than 7, but I'm not going to comment on that any further. The only thing I say about this is if the lane's back here, that kill also happens. Like, if the kill is happening here, then it's also going to happen back here. That's how
Easier.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it worked. That's great. You guys made a good play. But it would have worked just fine if you did it the other way, too. That's kind of how it's like if...
earlier, too, because it would have more XP.
Yeah, for sure.
Pugna.
If you're, like, if your Pugna's getting solo XP and now he's, like, level 5 now, too, like, suddenly this lane's, like, really easy. And what will happen is if you're doing this, you're going to have, like, rank 500 tree players or whatever, and they're going to be soaking from their Necro while your Pugna's under tower solo. And then suddenly...
Yeah, so he just gets level 6.
Yeah, and suddenly your Pugna's just out-leveling the Necro, and even if he has less farm, he's, like, going to kill him or whatever. So let's rewind here. What happened? So I think it's major that, like, you always ask yourself your carry's dependence upon you at any given moment. Does he need me right now? What am I doing to help my carry? Meaning, if I was not here, what would the lane look like? And so for me, it's like, when the Pugna was under tower, I would be thinking, if I wasn't here, the tree would be pulling the big camp and denying it while this Necro's here, right? That's what he'd be doing. And then this is the ideal play, right? We don't care if the opponent does not ideal things, right? Like, we don't care. We only care if they do the perfect plays. Meaning, like, that's the kind of shit that's going to stomp us, okay? And I guarantee you, as you go higher up in the rankings, the odds of them making the play that you're thinking of being perfect for them is much higher. Like, it's like, every time I'm against, like, these, like, crit level support players, whatever I can imagine the worst possible thing they're doing, they're doing it. Like, meaning it for me. Like, the thing that hurts me the most, they're doing it. Every time.
Yeah,
like,
I've play against crit Dark Willow a few times.
Yeah, I've had that displeasure as well, yeah. So, it's like, I just imagine myself what the lane would look like without me, right? So it's like, if that's what it looks like, then I have to play accordingly. Go ahead.
I think here I leave because I just assume that I wouldn't be able to pull and, like, live with the tree. And I see my Ursa's losing mid pretty hard, so I just rotate and help him out here.
How is he losing to it? I guess he started with a disadvantage. Oh. Okay.
Yeah,
interesting approach, Lord Wilmore. I've had this guy in my games. He's ranked like 150 or something.
I was confused by him not having the Earth Shock. Because I usually go at like level 1 or 2.
So I think you should leave right now, okay? Like, I don't mind if you rotate mid and... Did you salve him? Or did he salve himself?
I think he salved himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So... I'm gonna be mean here just because I need to say this.
My pause 5 is garbage.
This is actually so bad I don't know what to say. So, like, that's where I'm gonna leave that at. So we're gonna rewind. Like, what is happening here?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to do because I'm just like so not used to playing pause.
Okay.
I was really confused on what I should be doing at all.
If you feel like you can't help any cores, what are your only options?
Just pull.
Pull! Go check a bounty rune. Go check a real rune. Go ward somewhere. Don't just plant yourself in some other cores lane. You know, like, this is what happens a lot. Is for whatever reason, supports feel the need to, like, when they don't have anything to do, okay, what's a carry equivalent? When a carry has nothing to do, what do?
Just hit jungles.
Yeah! When a support has nothing to do, you go pull.
Yeah.
Or go ward. Or think to yourself, what does nobody else on my team want to do? And then go do it. You know? Like, nobody else wants to farm the dead lane.
I got flamed a lot this game. It was a rough one.
Yeah, this looks like a rough one. I'd be pissed at you too if I was anybody getting supported
I got flamed too because at some point I just, like, mid-game, I was like just pushing out waves because there were other towers and I was like, I'm not sure I'm supposed to do this, but they're just hitting.
So basically what I was going to say is your Pugna is not independent against Tree Necro. I don't know if you realize that. You can't leave. So,
yeah.
Like,
I'm not sure if he told me to leave or what happened because
here's how it works, dude. I'm going to tell you from my perspective, because you're about the tier of player. Like, you're rank 800, right? You're the type of player I play with, and I get real upset. Because you're good enough to be in my games, but you're annoying to play with because these little things that I'm mentioning to you. So, if I know that I'm farming under tower, and you're sitting behind me, and you're doing absolute jack shit to help me here, would I prefer to try to figure out what you're supposed to do, or just tell you to leave my fucking lane?
Yeah, just leave the lane.
Yeah, I tell you to leave, not because I don't...
Tell me to leave, like, immediately.
I'm just saying, not because I don't need you. It's because whatever you're doing is completely worthless, and I have no idea why you're doing it. So I just would prefer to have you not be there. So you need to realize now that that's the interpretation of you leaving the lane, okay? You can go pull when people say that kind of shit. It's like, okay, I'll go pull, you know? Like, that kind of shit, okay? But it's like, don't, like, just, I guess the best solution is just don't be bad, you know, like, to be honest with you. But let's be honest. The problem is with supports in your bracket, it's a big problem. It's a huge problem. Is when there's nothing clear to do, you just sit there. Like, it's a big thing. Like, you guys just don't know what to do, right? It's very hard to actually know what to do on supporting. It is. So, first and foremost, what does the lane look like without me? That's, like, probably one of the biggest questions I can ask myself, because then I look at my own hero and say, how can I change that? So, when I said, like, you know, the tree would be pulling, you could change that because Ursa or Pugna does not have the resources to be CSing under tower and scout out that pull. So what you actually could be doing at a very ideal level, mentioned you could be here scouting. Couldn't you just be over here, and if the guy walks over to pull it, you just interrupt it?
Hit it, yeah.
Yeah, right? That's what you could be doing. In that case, you're also not in XP range. And it's like, okay, that's worst case scenario. If I'm not here, then Tree's going to hit Pugna. So I need to make it so Tree can't hit Pugna. How do I do that?
Sentry wards.
Okay.
And
pull.
Like out of XP range and pull.
And pull, because the lane will be under his tower, because the tree can't hit him when it's under his tower, right? So it's like, this is a position where the Pugna's actually winning the lane. And you feel helpless. And all you have to do... Okay, I look at it this way. You look at this lane and say, okay, sorry. These are key questions to ask yourself. Key questions. First and foremost, repeating it again. What does the lane look like without me? Secondly, what does the lane look like without the supports? I'm asking you now for this specific lane. What does
Pugna wins first.
Pugna wins.
Yeah.
So, without you, what does it look like?
Pugna loses to Tree.
Tree Necro. So, if you're not there completely, lane lost. If you effectively remove Tree from the lane, you win.
Yeah.
So, pulling is the only way to drag people away from the lane, right? Because I think to myself, if you
forced to go interrupt,
because worst case, he's forced to go interrupt you, right? Like he's forced to go deal with you instead. So the times where pulling can potentially be bad is when there are situations where 2v2 the lane favors you, and 1v1 cores your core is unfavored.
Yeah, like Ursa lanes.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, like if it's like I look at it as like if it's Ursa versus like tiny Grimstroke, and you're like a silencer. I would much prefer to have you in my lane a lot than to have you pulling, because you plus me can bully Tiny, but you pulling means Tiny gets free farm and bullies me with Grimstroke. You see what I'm saying? So those are the lanes where I don't want you pulling, because 2v2 favors us, while 1v2 looks drastically different, right? Like in this case, 2v2 isn't good for you. 1v2 isn't good for him, so you can't leave. But 1v1 is good. So pulls are great, right? Like you just have to do whatever you can to get Tree out of the way. In certain lanes, like if you're a Bane and the support is a Willow or something, you don't necessarily have to go pull. What could you do?
Sorry, let's say that again.
So say, same lane, but you're a Bane and the enemy's a Willow. You could just walk around following the Willow, is my point. Yeah, if you remove the Willow from the lane, it doesn't have to be by pulling. It's just like, in this lane, are you able to brute force the tree out of the lane?
No.
No. So your only option is pulling. So I always try to think about every lane that I'm in the safe lane, and it's like equal understanding between the support and carry is very important. Very rarely do I have a support that I feel like understands it at like the same level as I do, just because very rarely, since I'm ranked 20, all the really, really good support players are like ranked like 80. I just very rarely get them in my games, like get them on my team. Very rarely.
Yeah, I've been like supported by like Flea or
It's crazy, right? Like all the things
I just feel like I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, they just do like all of these little things that you're supposed to have to worry about that I mentioned, right? Like, oh, it's really bad for my carry if the support tree pulls. They know that.
Yeah, I remember like I supported for one of my teammates. He's like rank 150 or rank 130, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I think I just lost your lane for you."
Yeah. So what I'm telling you though is put yourself in the mind of the core and what he needs from you. If he's under tower and you're like, I don't help him CS under tower at all, why the fuck are you there? If he's under tower, what could be a potential threat to him? Oh, nothing? Let's just go pull. Oh, they could pull the big camp, let's make sure that doesn't happen. Or, I'm gonna be primarily pulling and helping nuke some range creeps. So that means I'm playing here the entire laning phase. So the last thing I'm ever going to do is put a sentry over here, These are all, like, just very in-depth things.
I should just put the sentry, like, between the trees, between the tower, and then just sit back and pull the lane.
Yes, exactly, right? Like, that's what I'm saying, though, is, like, do you actually have to play any of this lane to know that?
No.
No, you can just apply your general understanding of Pugna Necro and Wyvern Tree. Right?
I should have known just because I play Tree. For the supports I play a lot.
Right? And so, this is the point where if you're a support player and you don't understand this, I just need you to think about it this way. I just need you to think about these things such that you know that if you mess up, you're at least learning from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you're at least
first 10 minutes, I was just like, I don't know. Really
you look clueless, and I'm telling you because these are actually the supports in my games, right? I'm not theory crafting if you were supporting me. This is actually the kind of supports I get, right? The rank 700-800 players that I'm literally looking at you like, what the heck is happening? Do you have another replay in mind for support or mid?
Yeah. Sorry, wrong button. I should have a Venge replay, I think.
Okay.
Cool. Look for it. Yeah, so this game was I had a more game too, and I was playing Venge 5, and I just felt really worthless until mid game where I got some good swaps off.
Gotcha. Cool. Let's pull it up. So, generally speaking, I think if you're a position 5 player, the most important part of
this game also was worse, a really good 4 player too, so I was extra lost on what I'm supposed to do in that lane.
This is all I'm telling you, as a position 5 player, the most significant weakness of all position 5 players, because usually they have pretty good knowledge of Dota, right? So once it starts, if you're at this bracket, right? Once the game starts playing out, you'll figure shit out. You'll know who to sit behind, that kind of stuff, or at least you'll kind of do that stuff decently. You guys just don't think critically about the laning stage. It's the hardest part of the game for your position, honestly. It really is. Until you get into, really high-level warding and stuff like that.
I think that's the one thing I'm really good at is I'm really good at warding.
Well, that's because usually core players can be good at warding because you're thinking about, where the cores want to actually play and, what objectives and that kind of stuff, and that's all wards are. So let's...
I always just have, wards for team fights and wards when I'm pushing high ground and stuff. Stuff I flame wave support players for not having. I'm
just
all right.
Yeah. I got you. So...
Oh yeah, my Weaver died, I think, level 1. I don't remember correctly. This is a weird lane. I was I've never seen this before, this exact matchup.
That was weird.
So he gets skewered in the brambles and he just dies. Because I don't think he's supposed to die, but...
I think it's a pretty big deal that you waved the first wave. I think your wave of terror should not hit creeps.
Yeah, that's just me just being bad at Venge and bad at 5.
Hey, no, did it not hit creeps? I thought it hit creeps.
No.
Let me see.
The second one did.
No, okay, no, you hit the 2.
Okay, I hit 2.
So you effectively, by the way, just dragged these creeps into tower range and lowered their armor.
Yeah,
you did that, by the way.
Free XP. I noticed this as soon as I did it.
I don't understand. Okay, so it's you. I don't actually know what to say about that.
It's just bad.
It's just bad. This is actually what I deal with, though, guys. I'm telling you this, not oh, woe was me. It's
my Weaver player. I was yo, I'm sorry. I'm really
bad. What the fuck are you doing? Jesus. Okay, so it's this is a lane where. What side of the lane are you playing and why?
Left side.
Why?
Just more movement because I want to get brambled.
Okay. And also, you're scouting out the willow for your weaver, right?
Yeah.
If you're here, then you're always going to see the willow, right?
Yeah.
And there's just no benefit, like you said, to playing down here. So why are you?
Yeah. Why am I starting off?
Why do you start down here? It's such a small thing, but it's such a big thing. Like if you're over here, you can do the exact same maneuver and just not draw creeps. But instead, you draw creeps. Your understanding of creep aggro as a support is just as important as a core, by the way. Very important. I can't tell you how often my supports fuck up creep aggro to the point where it like ruins lane equilibrium and shit. There's times that you're supposed to harass and times you're not supposed to, based on creep aggro and creep equilibrium. And it's just as important for the support to understand it as it is for carries. So guess what? If your laning as a fucking core sucks, guess what? It's gonna suck as a lane as a support too. I actually recommend for you to get better at supporting that you learn how to lane with lane equilibrium, creep aggro, and all that kind of shit properly as a core, because otherwise you have no idea how to do it as a support.
Yeah.
So this is a spot
Some
where
heroes I can do it on, and then some hero I just like it feels like I didn't actually learn. I just learned like how to do it on some heroes.
yeah, for sure. Okay, so lane's gonna pull back now. I actually don't mind that the lane's right here, because lane's gonna pull back now. Okay, your weaver just potatoed. Again, we get a kill. You should drop an item for your weaver to pick up because you're rich.
Yeah. I didn't even think about it. I guess my boots.
Whenever you die, you
should salve.
Whenever you die, you should ask your carry if he needs anything. Whenever your carry dies and you get the kill like that, you should tell him to pick you up something. Sentry, salve. You should notice your big camp's blocked by now. Then you buy yourself a sentry. This is a lane where you have no regen, so what should you do?
Just buy more regen.
If you don't buy more regen, what should you do?
I guess I gotta stick like right here.
You don't have regen, so you can't trade. What should you do? Go pull. Good talk.
Pull.
Moving
Yeah,
on.
sorry.
If you can't trade, you can't contest the lane. That means you do the one thing. That means you can't contest them.
Yeah.
Trust me, guys.
Like, yeah.
You may say, how is this guy 6K? I'm going to tell you that's probably what people in chat are thinking. I deal with this shit daily. Okay? Rank 700, like 500 support players, and this is like not even the worst that I've seen. Like, this is not as bad as you'd think. Like, meaning like I'm flaming the fuck out of you because I'm able to dissect you with a microscope while I'm playing. But like, there's so many times, I'm telling you from a carry player's perspective, where I'm like, do you guys need a formal invitation to go pull the fucking small camp? Do you need me to fly you an email online, somehow fly you an email, I don't even know how that came up with that, to go pull the damn small camp? I'm like, why don't people do it? Like, you have no regen, you can't contest, there's only one thing you do when you can't contest. Pull! Can we fight them 2v2? Earlier, I didn't mind that you didn't pull. Why? Because it was under their tower, you had a bunch of creeps, you were hitting them, you both had like enough health, your weaver potatoed a bit and died, but like, that was fine. You got a kill on Nag, all that kind of shit, right? Like, that was fine. But then at
I just pulled as soon as I got the kill.
Yeah, because at that point you have no health, you have no regen, like you don't want to fight them anymore, the lane's pushed out. Like, that's the time where you can fly yourself some regen maybe, you know?
Yeah.
You should have noticed by now that the big camp was blocked, so that courier should have like 2 sets of tangos, a sentry, and a stick. Probably more value than boots at this point. Okay.
I'll Q snipe you later, and I'll have this new knowledge.
Okay, cool.
That was just
That was a tilt for sure or something. And then you just lead. What's up with this? Okay, I guess you're going to.
My tree rotated.
Okay, yeah, I guess your tree rotated. That's fine. I'm actually okay with this. I'm not okay with the death, but I'm okay with the decision to.
Oh yeah, I think he had like 2 stick charges, and I would have killed him otherwise, or something like that.
Okay, you went for the bounty rune. I don't mind that.
Rotated. Yeah.
How in the world is having a wand more important than like some tangos and a clarity or some shit?
I think I just bought out right before I died.
Yeah, I'm saying that like bottom lane. Okay.
The stick.
No. Here's what I look at. You die bottom. So remember how I said if you don't know how to lane as a core, you're not going to know how to lane as a support?
Yeah.
You remember I flamed you for this exact thing as Monkey King? Are you expecting to go top lane and just not take a single fucking trade?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then
so I bought a branch
why do you
instead
buy
of
2
something.
branches instead of a salve?
Yeah. I think I had 1 branch, so I only bought 1 branch.
Why do you have 2 branches? Like, I don't care when you bought them. Like, why are you
Yeah,
going
I
out to a
don't know.
lane where you're telling me you intend to hit them? Are you expecting them to not hit you back?
No.
Okay.
They just come back
So,
regen.
I'm trying to be demeaning about this because it's really fucking obvious when you think about it. Why don't you have regen on you? You know what I'm saying? Like, watch, like, I guess
This is weird because I do this on cores. Like I actually
that's what I'm saying. You did it on Monkey King. You did it on Monkey King. So I'm saying if you're doing it on cores, you're going to do it on supports, right? Like that's what I was. That was literally my exact point. Was you did it on Monkey King, so obviously you're going to do it on Venge. You know what I mean? Like if you're not doing it properly on a core, so that's why I think a lot of your decisions will actually be better made if you play core mostly. But obviously when you play these high rank games, you're going to be support, so you're kind of thrown into it. But like. Just think about what's going to happen in the next 20 seconds. So it's like, whenever I think, if I leave the lane here, are we going to be trading with them? Okay, that's fine, we are. Do I want that? And you look at yourself, you have 400 health, a stick with no tangos? No? So go pull! You know, like, no? Like, I don't need to be told or shown that that's going to be bad for me, right? Like, that's why when I'm a carry and I'm playing my supports, I'm like, it's actually so obvious if you just think about it that way. Like, what's going to happen next in this lane? It's like, I TP top? You're telling me, effectively, right? I tell this to my 4K people that are cores. I'm like, you're telling me that you plan to not take a single point of damage in this top lane. That's what you were telling me, not a single point of damage. Oh, there it is. I got dual breathed. There's a third of my health. And now you just have no regen. Nope, I got dual breathed again. There's half my health. It's like what did you expect?
Yeah, if I just had tangos, I would just be fine.
Which, yeah, you'd just be fine. And you might still die here, but at least the Ember would have to expend more than Searing Chains. I like that you went for the
Bounty.
bounty. That was important. But I also probably would have Wave of Terror to scout, because who do you care about contesting you? Is it the Omni that scares you?
No.
It's the Ember, potentially, right?
Yeah.
So if anybody's coming, it's Ember. Where's he coming from? Mid? So you just, like, Wave of Terror towards mid? That's like...
Yeah, I should have thought about it, too, because we have Alk, so it's, like, even more important.
It's just one of those things where it's like, whenever I'm doing something, what can go wrong here? This applies on cores, on supports, on every role.
I just have, like, a free vision spell. I just want to see what...
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so here's how it works. What can go wrong here? What does it look like? Can I do anything about it? So what if you say, what could go wrong here, Ember's here, and you're a silencer?
Just that Ember.
Or you just choose not to go there. But then that's the decision you have. You literally, by saying this, you say, if Ember chooses to be here, I'm dead. And if you're consciously then making that decision, then okay. Like, there are some times where that's okay. Like, if you're really far behind, that you have to kind of make desperate plays like that. But yeah. So that's the decision you're making. It's like, I can't counterplay this. But on Venge, you have the option, right? So the things we're trying to avoid is when you do have options to do things about it, like go pull when you're Wyvern instead of just leaving, or Wave of Tearing at Bounty Runes, or when you're bottom lane on Venge, not Wave of Tearing the creeps and dragging them into your tower. You know? That kind of shit's like, what? Like, you know, when you think about it, right? So, I asked you, though, where should you be playing this lane? I didn't even give you any indication of where it should be. And you said top. Or you said left side of the lane. Like, you said left side of the lane down bottom. So, it's like, why is that not where you're starting the lane? There's times now that I've actually... I realized to myself that I have to stop talking to my chat about halfway through the draft, because I have to start thinking about this shit halfway through the draft. Because you realize how intricate it is, right? Like, I have to be on the top side because of those 2 heroes. I have to be, like, you know, when the lane's this far out, we're fine to contest when we have 6 creeps and they have 3, but not when it's even and we have no regen. Okay, I gotta go pull. You know, like, that's the kind of stuff that you have to think about, like you do. So I think we're about out of time, I think. What did I start? Sorry. I'm not trying to...
Yeah, it should be around that.
Cool. We have a little bit of time for something else if you have a quick question. Do you have a specific replay that you want me to watch the first couple minutes of again? Or what do you want me to... Is there any last questions you have?
Any last questions? I look for replay really quick, but I think those are really useful just because that's like definitely the worst part of my lane or my game is just the first.
I saw it on the Monkey King too, and I just want to say, like, make sure when you're coming down to the 10 to 15 minute mark, that's something you can study a lot about other players. That's the only way I learned it. You're kind of at the bracket where there's not much information on that kind of stuff. Like, I don't have videos that talk a ton about it other than like the basics of getting to know what you're supposed to do. But in terms of like specific matchups, specific timings, all that kind of stuff, like specific rotations, like, you pretty much just have to watch other players with the things I talk about in mind, like what I'm doing in the next 30 seconds to a minute.
When I watch like pro games, I just watch player perspective of like.
I always watch player perspective on my stream because that's how you actually learn. You know, I'm not watching pro games to cheer somebody on. I'm watching them to get better from it in some way. Right, and I want to be clear to everyone. Yeah, go ahead.
Definitely what I need to be doing because I'm just trying to get like an ACL right now, and that's like
that's the best way to get better at it, man. And like when you're in these games, if you ever get the chance, like if I have a rank 700 support saying, you know, if you ask, like if you're in my game and you're a rank 700 support and you say, BSJ, do we need to pull camp this lane, or like, you know, should I be pulling, or you know, that kind of stuff, I'm fine to answer.
I don't ask questions too much in game, so it's kind of like
I don't want you to literally like tell me, like some supports will take it to the point of like they're literally asking me what items to build and like
a survey.
Yeah, they're doing a survey, but like if you're saying BSJ like I feel like I might need to pull this lane, and then I'll say, oh, I'll tell you when, or like that kind of stuff. If you express lack of knowledge on something, most carry players will try to help you.
I think I do that with like smokes and wards is what I usually do that with. That's like the only thing I really communicate that, and then it's really useful though because it's like next time I'll try to Q snipe you and you'll have a coach by you support.
There you go, man. I'm ready. You'll probably be on my team because you're about the rank that I always get on my team. So forehead. But yeah, man. Thanks for signing up. Making sure you don't have any last questions.
Nah, I'm good.
Cool, man. Right on. I mean, I wish you luck. I'll probably see you in my games at some point, and good luck in NADCL. And thanks, I hope this helps you out. And definitely, it'll be up on YouTube, so make sure you review. I'm just emphasizing to you, man. You're smart enough to know the answers. Make sure you're asking yourself the right questions, because you answered almost all my questions correctly for the most part, except for about pulling. For whatever reason, you're just like...
Yeah, it's something I don't think about.
Yeah, you just don't think about it, right? That's all it means.
Like a core player, I don't fucking pull.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, other than the pulling questions, when it came down to like how lane matchups go and all that kind of stuff, a lot of what you're supposed to do as a support, to be honest with you, is understanding core matchups. So, like, if you say like knowing where you're supposed to be in the lane and like how Ursa can win the lane, that kind of stuff. If you know Ursa versus Necro matchup, that will tell you a lot about how you're supposed to play from your support role. Because if you ask yourself what the lane looks like without you there, and what the lane looks like 1v1, and all that kind of stuff, it will help you decide what you're supposed to do. You see that, right?
I think I've been like winning a lot just because I pick like the right hero.
Yeah.
These matchups.
Yeah, you seem to have the knowledge. It's just like straight up, you're being lazy or just not choosing to think about it, whatever the reason is, you know?
Yeah, tilt.
So, right on, dude. Tilt, any of that. All the above. So, thanks for signing up again, man. Best of luck in NADCL, and I'll see you around.
All right, thanks, man.